Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff, and we're here at the DJ Hero event. I'm joined by Chris Lee of Freestyle Games. Chris, how you doing, sir?
We're doing good. We're really excited to be here. It's the first time we've had all of the game available for people to play, so we're just super excited to see how it goes.
So it's coming out really soon. I mean, this is the finished final version of the game, certified, everything?
Absolutely. Finished, final, ready to go. So finished turntable, finished game, just all ready to go. So yeah, we're coming out at the back end of October, so we're pretty much ready.
Cool. So it seems like when you get into stuff like hip-hop and dance music, there haven't really been a ton of rhythm games that address these genres. It's all been, you know, the modern music game has all been about the guitar and rock and roll and all that sort of stuff. It seems like something that I guess hasn't been addressed because it's been very difficult. Did you find it like difficult to develop like this concept?
There's definitely challenging parts to it. So that I always think of it as three different elements. So there's the music, there's the game mechanic, and then there's the controller. The fact that we could work on a controller that really allows us to address some of those challenges. So obviously you can design the controller and the game mechanic at the same time, which obviously gives you this massive spectrum of possibility, but it also gives you the opportunity to make something that's accessible and that drives people to really want to interact. For us, the real passion and the real inspiration behind DJ Hero was the music. It's the opportunity for us to bring genres of music, artists into this type of music rhythm genre that just haven't had the opportunity to exist before, as you say, because it's been very drum driven or guitar driven, and so there's a lot of dance music, electronica, R&B, hip hop, just it hasn't really been exposed in the way in which we've been able to do in DJ Hero. So that's really exciting for us. I mean, selfishly, it's the music we love, but also there's a huge audience out there that haven't entered the music rhythm game space yet because they haven't found the music that they want to play.
Right.
So it's been an interesting journey, but lots of challenges, as you say.
Cool. At what point in the concept did mashing two songs together come up? Was that something that was core to the very first ideas about the game, or was that something that like later on you're like, how are we going to like make this work with the crossfader and all this stuff?
Yeah, it was from the very, very beginning. So we understood that the essence of a DJ is connecting different bits of music together. So that was almost the catalyst of where we wanted to start. And then it was looking at what the DJ does, what are his actions, how can we boil that down into something that's accessible but it's authentic. So we definitely started with a team of people creating original mixes, and then we threw those into a game mechanic and try to understand how you could really feel as though you're manipulating that music and that you're in control of it and that you're driving the performance.
It seems like there's a real learning curve to DJ Hero. I think that, you know, having played it a little bit on the easier settings and then played it on expert, there's definitely like a wide range there. I mean, how long do you expect it to take kind of most people that are familiar with rhythm games to get into it and be like, okay, I get it, I'm going to move up to medium, I'm going to move up to hard and get to expert?
Yeah, you're right. We really want to take people on a journey. We also want to give people the opportunity to access the game and play the game any which way they want. So if they're comfortable on an easy level and they actually just want to entertain their friends and listen to music, that might be where they stay. Once you've picked that up, you're kind of off and running, and then we start layering on complexity. So it's slightly different to Guitar Hero, where we're not adding more streams and we're not adding more buttons. We're just asking people to think about multiple things at the same time. So from medium onwards, we bring in the crossfader, and we expect people to now kind of cut between the records.
How did you come to develop the controller and figure out, that you needed these buttons here instead of over off to the side and things like that?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and that was the tipping point for us in the design of the controller. We went through lots of different iterations and designed the controller. I mean, the first one was built in one of the guys' garages, and it was just made out of wood. And the idea was just to kind of get your hands on it, so figure out the kind of size and the proportion and where the buttons might be. But putting the buttons on the turntable just meant that people were always touching and feeling and hopefully scratching the record. So when you speak to somebody, you just think, well, what does a DJ do? And they're like, well, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So it's like, well,
they lean like that.
That's what we want them to do. We want them just to touch the record, hold the button, and scratch it. So it was important for us to have a direct connection between the streams that are coming down the game and something that's on the vinyl. So we just thought, get the players' hands on the vinyl, and they can control the streams. So that was a big thing for us. And it's great you've tried the tutorial. I mean, we worked long and hard, and what was brilliant was we didn't originally plan to have Grandmaster Flash work on it,
right.
But he was like, listen, I invented this. I'm going to tell everybody how to play it.
It's your boy, DJ Grandmaster Flash. I'm going to teach you everything you need to learn about being a DJ.
It's really
So
authentic.
listen up.
He's truly passionate about people learning this art form, and he just was so desperate to make sure that it was him as the originator that would allow people to learn it, albeit in a new way and maybe through a video game rather than a vinyl, but it's the same technique, it's the same principle. You're cutting, you're scratching, and you're manipulating music.
So there's a wide variety of names throughout the game. What did different DJs contribute to the game? Was it just like their mixes, or did they come in and go like, this feels right, and this maybe feels like you should do this?
Yeah, so that's been a really interesting part of the journey. Obviously, there's a music licensing challenge because for the first time we're releasing remixed music. So every other video game, every other music rhythm game to date has just released, a standard track and a note tracks, video game. Right. So we wanted to do something that was totally different. We feel as though the consumer and the younger generation is just feels as though they should own music, they should control music, they should be able to manipulate it for themselves, they should be able to choose what they listen to and even remix records together. So that's the journey that we wanted to do, and that's what we wanted to do within DJ. Now that's a challenge, so are the artists comfortable with that? Are they going to let us license their music? Do they really understand what it is we want to do and why we want to do that? What we found was people like Jazzy Jeff and Grandmaster Flash and Scratch Perverts and DJ Yoda and even working with like Jay-Z and Eminem, they just said, no, we want to be more involved in this music. We want to be more involved in this, hopefully this kind of cultural change. And this is a vehicle that we can reach out to our current audience, but maybe other people that don't listen to our music and they're more familiar with a video game.
And
so
it seems like it's a chance for those guys. I mean, this can be like their Guitar Hero in a lot of sense. It's like, there's never not going to be a lot of Jay-Z songs Guitar Hero, but obviously like this can be something where if you like Jay-Z, you go get this game and he's there for you.
Absolutely, and I think they really found that. I think it must be, for these artists, it must have been quite frustrating to watch Guitar Hero become so huge, and they just think, my music just doesn't fit into that space. And I think when we started to talk to them about DJ Hero, they were super excited.
So you've got the whole new direction with the turntable, but then kind of throw a bone. I mean, everyone has at this point 8 guitars stacked up in their closet.
I'm one of them.
So yeah, so now you can pull one out and play alongside people using the turntable.
Yep.
Was that something that came out of? I guess the real thing I want to know is this based on the Guitar Hero code base? Did you build this from the ground up yourselves?
So we built it from the ground up. So as I said, the game's been in development for over 3 years. For the first 2 years, we were a completely independent studio. So we've actually only been part of the Activision family for a year. So although we always hoped that this might become a DJ Hero game, it started out life as just our own idea and our own creation, our own code base, and certainly looking at what people were enjoying within Guitar Hero and trying to make something that was recognizable and familiar, but really not letting that guide the way in which we created the game mechanic or created the controller or created the visuals, just making sure that this was a game that was truly unique and stood by itself. But we love the idea of bringing people into the experience. So you can do that, obviously, turntable versus turntable, which is extremely cool. You can collaborate or you can battle. But we want to go further than that. We wanted to prove that this was a vehicle for all types of music. So, bring in Nirvana, bring in the Foo Fighters, bring in Beck. But at the same time, have your friend kind of, scratch in a bit of Beastie Boys or, a bit of Dizzy Rascal or just something that was really unusual. So that process of bringing in the guitar and doing those unique mixes, it was a long process because it's something we had to get right because people are so passionate, so enthusiastic, so familiar with Guitar Hero, it had to be right. But at the same time, we wanted to really embody the idea of remixing music that you maybe just wouldn't expect. So we're really pleased. We've done 10 unique tracks. Maybe look out for some more through DLC if people love that experience. But yeah, so far it's worked out really well.
Cool. So speaking of DLC, let's talk about the future of DJ Hero. Obviously, you'll have downloads on a regular basis going forward. What can people look for in terms of frequency of releases?
Yeah, so we're planning a whole bunch right now. We're going to have day 1 DLC. And we'll basically kind of track the volume of release based on consumer demand. So we can create the content. We've got a bunch of licenses ready to go. We've actually got a lot of artists approaching us now that DJ Hero has become a bit more of an awareness and a bit more of a vibe and excitement around the game. Artists that we hadn't worked with, hadn't approached, hadn't spoken to, maybe didn't have access to originally, are coming to us and just saying, okay, well, tell me how this works. Tell me what you need. How would we do it? How do we feel comfortable about how you're going to remix the music, who you're going to remix it with. I'll only give you the music if you use Shadow to remix it, that kind of stuff. Right, it's like, fine, that's kind of cool, whatever you want to do. And so we're working with a lot of people right now to try and explore whether they want to do downloadable content, whether they want to just look to the future and maybe be involved in something that's beyond this game. But there's a huge amount that we want to do, and what's exciting for us is that across all of the platforms, people can go online and they can access new music, and it's up to us just to make really cool stuff available.
Cool. We can talk about the future here. It's probably not much to say, but I mean, so you can detach the turntable and attach it to the other end.
That's right.
For like a lefty flip style thing, which would ostensibly mean you could hook up 2 turntables to this thing, right?
That's always possible. It's always possible.
Nothing, no in-game use at this point.
There's no in-game use right now. So
You know, DJ Hero 2 maybe someday.
Well, very interesting. We need to employ you as a designer.
So I think what's exciting for us, we haven't predetermined the future. We really want people to look at the game, experience the game, get their hands on the game. We're doing a huge amount of trial in-store all across the world, a huge amount in North America, thousands and thousands of kiosks just to get people to enjoy and play the game. And we want people's feedback. We'll have forums and we'll have community sites, and we want people to tell us what they're enjoying, which music that they end up playing the most, how many of the guitar tracks they want to play, do they want more, how they use the microphone, so we plug in the microphone and allow people to do shout-outs and MC. You know, what is it that they're loving about the game? Do they play by themselves? Do they play with their friends? Do they show off at a party? You know, do they just practice at home and become perfect? What is it they do? And hopefully, if the game's successful, that will help us guide, you know, what we might be able to do in the future.
Well, it definitely seems like the sort of game that as soon as you touch it and understand what exactly is going on, it all makes perfect sense.
That's great.
So, you know, getting it out there in front of people seems like a really smart idea. And wish you the best of luck out there. Chris, thank you very much for your time.
No problem. Good to meet you.